Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm Dean Rod Vera, and today we'll talk about the Tambay Cap issue. Fake or real? Welcome back. Again, we'll talk about the Tambay Cap issue. Now, to begin with, Tambay Caps are owned by the singer, rapper, actor Pio Balbuena. There's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to earn money, and they should. When you make a local business, you hire local people and support the local industries around the area, which is all good for the economy. Now, there are 2 points on this issue. One is the overselling or the overpricing, and the other one whether it is plagiarism. I'll get to that later. On the first point, overselling or high prices. Technically, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about overpricing caps. There are price ceilings on consumer goods in supermarkets and our sari stores, but for sporting goods such as caps, I don't think there is any regulation. And there shouldn't be because these are not essential consumer goods. Now, if the seller wants to price it at 2 million versus 2,000, that's all in good. It's up to the person who buys it and puts value in that cap. For example, me personally, I do not see any value in art. You show me a painting, I'll go, I don't see anything. In the same vein, an art collector will see no value in my guitar collection. I have a 1982 The Strat, very rare, and I also have a PRS 25th Anniversary SE. To an art collector or art buyer, they're valueless. They mean nothing. But to me, they are very high value. So it's in the eye of the beholder or the eye of the wallet holder to put value in the things that they buy. If PU wants to sell their caps at a high price and somebody buys it, well, that's the deal. Now, on to the second point, whether there is plagiarism or whether they're fake or real. First, on this issue, first again, do not confuse plagiarism with this issue. Plagiarism is about copyright infringement and it is mostly an academic crime or academic violation. I have a video on plagiarism. Please look in the description below or search my channel when you have the time. Now, if it's trademark infringement because the caps in issue are selling logos and sports team names, so I would say they are considered, if ever, trademark infringement. Now let's begin. How do we define trademarks? Now, trademarks are visible signs that distinguish goods from other goods or companies from other companies. The famous logos, the famous brands, they are making themselves unique to the other brands and other goods in the same category. So, with regards to sports teams, as indicated in the sports caps, each sports teams have their own logos. The Dodgers, the San Francisco Giants, the San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, each of them have their own logo. And when they're put in caps, it means that you associate yourself with that team. That's your favorite team or you want to support that team. Now, a sports team or even a company logo spends a lot of money in the research and development of their logo to make it either appealing, to update it, to make sure that it's identified with that team. Now, if somebody tries to copy that logo or make a similar or colorable imitation of that logo and puts it in their own category of goods, that could be considered trademark infringement. Now, for trademark infringement to happen, the first trademark number one, or the first trademark, must be registered, whether it be in the USPTO or here in the Intellectual Property Office in the Philippines. Once registered, one of the rights given to a trademark owner is that it can prevent third parties. Why third parties? Because third parties are necessarily unauthorized. So it prevents third parties from using their logo, a reproduction, a counterfeit, or even a colorable imitation and they use that in commerce, meaning they use it to sell part of their as part of their goods or services. Once registered, the owner of the trademark has the capacity to stop any unauthorized use. And when they catch somebody with an unauthorized use, that is considered infringement. And under the law, the IP Code of the Philippines, they can go after the alleged infringer. Now, what is unauthorized use or unauthorized or not authorized use? That means that the first trademark or the registered trademark did not give permission to the user or the second mark. Now, it is infringing if it uses that same mark, an imitation, or even a colorable reproduction of that mark in their own goods and services. So, for example, if I were to use the Los Angeles Dodgers way of lighting Dodgers into my own danger, and I put it in a cap, that could be considered by the Dodgers as a colorable imitation and thus trademark infringement. Now, what is colorable imitation? It's when the dominant features of the first mark, the registered mark, is being copied or imitated in the secondary mark, which is used by the infringer, or mark number 2. Now, I will show you some logos and some Tambay caps, and you tell me, or you tell yourself, whether they are colorable imitations. Here's the first. Here's the second. And here's the third. Now, I chose these three because they best represent the best imitate the first trademark, which is a registered or famous trademark. Now, what is the bottom line of trademark infringement? It's confusion. It will confuse the buyer or confuse the purchaser, thinking that it is buying the original logo or the original mark, the first mark, when they buy the goods that has the second mark or the infringing mark. So, when it comes down to Tambay caps, will the people know who buy Tambay caps, even though overpriced or underpriced, are they buying the first mark, or do they know that they're buying an imitation or an original mark of Tambay caps? Now, under the IP law in jurisprudence and cases, there are two types of confusion. Confusion as to the buyer and confusion as to the business. Confusion as to the buyer is the logo itself. Confusion as to buyer is the logo itself. People will think that they're buying an original product of that logo. Now, if it's confusion as to the business, it is basically the source. Are the people buying it from the company? Meaning, are they buying a Dallas Cowboy hat? Are they buying a San Francisco hat? Are they buying a Ginebra San Miguel hat for the PBA? Or is it an imitation or fake goods? Now, in particular, sports caps are a symbol of loyalty, meaning when somebody buys that cap, they are supporting that team or that company, meaning they give their loyalty, they give their passion, they give their fandom, if you will, to that sports team or company. So if you see yourself wearing a sports teams, that means you like that sports teams. As for me, I love the San Francisco 49ers and I hate the Dallas Cowboys. That means I will never ever buy a Dallas Cowboys merchandise. Enough said of that. Now, here's the underlying principle, or basically, I want to say the bottom line in trademark infringement. It is basically subjective because the confusion necessarily lies with the purchaser. Are they being fooled into buying what they thought they bought? Or do they know they're buying a tolerable imitation of the logo? Now, again, trademark infringement is basically subjective. Now, it's up to the owner of the registered mark, the original logo, to claim that Tambay is copying their designs. It's really subjective. Now, on the Tambay side, they have claimed, and I've seen it in the videos and their own press release, that their designer or the design that they hired is inspired by these designs. Now, when you give that excuse, that's basically telling that you derived your idea from the original design. Whether it's copying, then it's up to the buyer, and of course, at this point, the judge, if there's a case, to whether it is trademark infringement. So, my unsolicited advice to Pia Balbuena is I admire you for creating a local business. If you overprice it or you make it that price, good for you. Now, if you're going to make designs for your caps, be original. Don't necessarily get inspired by other designs because people would think that they are buying the goods of the first mark. Hi, please do me a favor and smash that like button. It'll help me a lot and it will trigger the YouTube algorithm. Now, if you have not yet, please subscribe to my channel. If you don't, my dog will eat this exam booklet and that student has to repeat his final exam again.